Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is Jessica Peterson, and I am so excited to have my business partner, Andrea Sullenger, here. We're going to learn some fun stuff about her and her journey and what it means for you. And I want to state before we get started, first of all, say hi, Andrea. Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. The reason why we decided to do this is because Andrea and I found that when we meet with people, we wanted to make it all about them and not about us. So you can watch this little video. We hope it'll be fun, entertaining. It's completely raw. It's going to be unedited. We're keeping it real, and you can listen to it. We won't do anything too crazy. You can listen to this. So when we meet with you, it's all about you and how we can bring value to you. So Andrea, tell us something awesome about your day.
Oh gosh, awesome about my day. You know what? My husband came home at lunch and he made me lunch. It was so nice.
Wow.
I know. I just got off of a client call and I heard he has a loud truck and he pulled in and my dogs go nuts. So you might actually get to hear them in our interview. And I thought, oh gosh, what's he doing? And he said he was in the neighborhood and he just came to make lunch for me and hang out for a few minutes. So that was just so nice.
It was really nice of him.
I
So,
know.
yeah, super sweet. Okay, so tell us a little bit. We're going to dive into, and I know you're not knowing all the questions I'm going to ask. So, tell us a little bit about your childhood. What's your memories, the good and the bad, and how it all evolves into who you are today?
Oh, that's a big question. So just to keep it concise, so I'm the oldest child and I have a little sister and we lived all over the place when I was younger. And the place I most remember is we lived in Hawaii for a while. And I remember going to the beach every day after school. Loved it, to Sandy Beach and Hanauma Bay. And it was just it was fun. I have a lot of really fun, good memories. And then when I was about 8, we moved to Oregon, and that's where I currently reside. So Oregon really is my home. We grew up here. My whole family still lives in Oregon. I live in Salem, which is the capital, and my sister and her family and my mom and dad and their spouses all live in Portland. So I get to see them on a regular basis. But for the most part, I would say I had a really fun childhood. I was allowed to explore all sorts of things, gymnastics, horseback riding, all sorts of sports. I remember back in the day when I was a kid, you were allowed to get a job pretty early on. So I've had a job, at least one job, since I was 11 years old. And so on one of my jobs, I actually learned how to drive a forklift. So I might not look mighty, but I have some really amazing skills that can help you. Probably never, but if you ever need to move something really, really heavy, I'm the girl for you. So, so I'm an animal lover. I always had pets. And so, I mean, that's just kind of we went on great family vacations. I have tons of family vacation memories. One time we went on a vacation where my dad rented a gigantic motorhome, and we picked it up in Indiana where my relatives live, my grandparents, and we met another family from Oregon there, and we all piled into this huge motorhome, and my dad drove it smack dab to the middle of Washington, D.C., and he parallel parked that sucker, and we, which was a funny thing to remember all by itself, but we walked all over Washington, D.C. I think it was in 7th or 8th grade, and it was such fun memories. Just really fun things.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. So tell us about, so you graduate high school and then tell us, what was your next phase in your life after that?
So my next phase in life was, I feel like my life was always, it could be summed up by saying I'm the girl that had her foot on the accelerator and I had it pressed down hard. I just was going. I remember my first semester or quarter, I can't remember what it was. I guess it was semester in college. I was taking 18 and a half credits. I worked part-time on an on-campus job, and I got a walk-on basketball scholarship to the basketball team. And it was so crazy, the schedule that I kept. it was just insane. I mean, no freshman should ever take 18 and a half credits, but like I said, I always had a job, and in college is really when I realized that I probably wouldn't be the very best at a job, although I did have many of them. I would probably be more suited to be in business, to be an entrepreneur. And after I went away for college, so after I came home, during that time, I met my husband, and that was kind of a fast and I don't even know what to call it, roller coaster ride of a courtship and getting married. He actually broke off our engagement after I had purchased my wedding dress. What a jerk. Oh my word. But then he came back because he knew he was missing out, and we got re-engaged. And I will say the second ring I got was a little bit smaller than the first ring I got. I know the face you're making. I know.
I can hide my expressions.
Oh my gosh, it's my fault. I should have not given the first ring back, but I was young. I didn't know better. Anyway, so then we got married. We've been married. We've been together for 20 years. So it's all worked out. But, and I did actually use the wedding dress that I had originally purchased to marry that man. So, yeah, I always tease. He's my first husband. I mean, I only have one, but he is the first. So, I moved to Salem because he's an entrepreneur. He has a company here also. And, like most people, shortly after I had babies and all of that stuff. And so, during that time though, I worked at Nike, which was a really fun, interesting job. And I also was starting to really dabble in entrepreneurship. And then after I was on a contract with Nike, and after my contract ended, that's really when I jumped in as a full-time entrepreneur.
Wow. And how long has it been?
Yeah. Oh gosh, how long has it been? That was probably 1997, 1996, 97, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. So let's fast forward. Now you're Providence Unlimited, and you've done a great job branding your name. And, I had the honor to do the Ultimate Women's Conference with you, and we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But so share with us a little bit about Providence Unlimited and Andrea Sullenger and your journey there, and where you see yourself going next.
Yeah. So like most entrepreneurs, there's always this evolution of how your business begins, and that seeding of an idea to where it is, fast forward 18 years later. And it's definitely different than what it initially started out to be for me as well. So what I primarily do is I love to write. So I have a huge piece of my business is writing. I've written 2 books, and best-selling books, I might add. So I'm proud of that. And I write every month as the chief editor and the business and tech editor for an online entrepreneurial magazine. It's based out of Scotland, and it's called Hat Trick, and anybody can find it. It's an amazing magazine, and it has tons and tons and tons of value for entrepreneurs, and even, I would say, corporate people that really work independently, like especially if you're in a sales type of job. And we have about 3 million readers each month, so it reaches a lot of people. So that's a fun piece of the work that I do. The other piece of work that I do is obviously to work with clients and to impact them. So I don't work with industry specific, but I work with people primarily in 2 ways, which is business kind of marketing strategy, overall game plan, and also as a sales coach. And in the sales coaching, that's kind of broken down into several components. I am a certified body language expert and trainer. And so the way that comes into play is in regards to presentation and negotiation most of the time. And typically it's when people are in front of you, right? Eyeball to eyeball. But it does also have components that come into play with your online presence and your marketing collateral and all of that. So Jessica and I have known each other forever. And I think last June, we went to an event together that she invited me to. And that's kind of what sparked our really talking and kind of the rumblings of what are we going to do together? How are we going to play together? And of course, the very first thing that came into play was our conference that we did, our international conference, and it was in Denver. this last February. So it was a great success, a ton of work, totally worth it. And even today, we got an awesome testimonial months afterwards for what started out because of that conference for an attendee. So that was it was such an awesome thing to do. I'm surprised we lived through it, but it was great.
Yes. What did we count up? Just that week alone, we worked each 130 hours. I didn't even see daylight. I didn't even leave the hotel for almost a week.
Yeah. I remember people kept saying to us, oh, it's so sunny outside. And I thought, outside? Who's gone outside? I didn't even know what time it was most of the time. And I even had to remind myself where I was. I woke up a couple of times in that hotel bed thinking, where am I? But it was worth it.
We had great conversations. We'd be up till 3 a.m. laughing, rewrapping our day and everything, but it was super fun. And yes, people keep asking what we're going to be doing. I'm like, what next one? We had over 90% ask for another one. So it was a huge success, like you mentioned. I'm all, what next one? It was just our gift to the world for the one.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very chaotic. I remember even trying to go pee and people like, Jessica, we need you now. And I'm like, I guess I won't go. I guess I have to go. So I get off it was just constant, but it was fun. So our next one, if we end up moving ahead, we've actually already selected an event planner. So that can manage and run everything. And we should have done that to begin with, but that's okay. It was our first one. We dove.
Hindsight. Yeah.
Fun. And I'm grateful for Facebook because that's how I met you several years ago. And it's really fascinating because I'm from Oregon, born in Oregon. And you, I didn't meet you until I actually moved out here to Colorado.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's so crazy. But we have so much in common. Okay, awesome. So do you have anything else to add to anyone listening to get to know Andrea? I mean,
what I would tell people is that, everybody that works with me, whether in partnership or my clients, they tell me over and over and over that one of the reasons they love me is that I kick your butt and give you a hug at the same time. And I'm really, really transparent and direct, and they appreciate that. And I would say that in this day and age, I can completely understand because that's who I gravitate towards also in business and in partnership. And if you want to learn a little bit more about me, you can do a couple things. You can find me on Facebook and you can watch and see. I'm really transparent there. And you can also on my website, on the About Me page, one of the fun things that I have is 11 things about me. And they're just kind of some wild, fun, crazy things. And people always like to read them. And I always love when people actually write back and tell me some things about them. So one of the things I have on there is I've been to the Olympics and I love, love, love lemon heads. So it's one of my most favorite candies. So I'd love to know, you guys tell me a little bit about you.
Well, and you love gifts. I know you love gifts.
Yes, presents.
Love presents. So that's awesome. And I really commend you. Can I just share that you opened up to me how you were dyslexic as a kid? And it's very commendable that you still moved ahead, pursued your dream to write. Congrats on being, in 2 best-selling books. And, I know sometimes you say, oh man, I transposed some letters or something you're writing, but we're real and we're not perfect. So anyhow, I think that's a huge accomplishment, and I want to say congrats. So anybody else who can relate to that, you will be a writer.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I would just tell you this, that I was always told I was stupid, and I was in all the remedial reading and all, like extra tutors and math help all the time. I mean, my whole growing up. And I knew in my spirit that I wasn't stupid. I knew I was ultra smart and ultra creative. And I also knew that I looked at things and I saw things that other people didn't see. And I didn't know exactly why. And there were times I did feel like I was stupid. I was like, why do I not get this? I don't know. And it was not until actually one of my children was having problems in school. And I had that child tested, and I could not do the test that they were having this child do. And I asked the instructor, and they tested me, and they were like, holy cow, lady, you are dyslexic. And I have to tell you, it was like a miracle diagnosis for me, because it literally made my whole educational and learning and process and the way that my brain works and filters information finally for the first time in my life. And that was when I was 32 years old. It finally made sense. And I just thought, oh my word, like, where were you people back then? But yeah, just, you know what, if you've got some little quirky thing, I can just tell you, you just have to know that it was there. It was given to you as a gift, and you can use it to really go after and to help you drive yourself for what it is you want. Now, I will tell you, with being dyslexic, I get emails all the time from people about that I misspelled something wrong, or this is not right, or whatever. And it's interesting because most people don't know I'm dyslexic, and I have to just chalk it up to, I think it must make them feel better that they got to tell me I was wrong about something. The funny part for me is that even when they send me the word I misspelled, it still looks right to me. Like, I still don't see it because I'm dyslexic. So I see all the letters are there. I don't know what the problem is. But it is actually a good little marketing tool. You know why? Because it means people are opening my emails and they're reading my stuff and they're paying attention. So I find it actually comical, but.
Oh, goodness. That's really funny. Actually, we did a little marketing campaign where the white lettering was so light that people had to squint to read it, and we had tons of comments. We had to really squint, and we had to really see, what does this say? And it was, I'm like, well, that was our purpose,
totally.
Like, I can't see it, I got to see it. So it's a way to, I love how you look at the positive from it, you've learned from it, you embrace it. That is so awesome.
That's all you can do, right? And that's actually one of the reasons that I know that I was drawn to you and that we became such good friends, was because we were exchanging, I honestly really like very quick exchanges on Facebook for years before we really got into any type of meaty conversation. And now I think, gosh, what a huge blessing that was, that I didn't poo-poo it, that you didn't poo-poo it, that we just really kind of kept investigating the relationship and kept having dialogue. And now I get to say you're my partner, and I love it. So I'm so excited for the world, if they don't know you already, to get to know you a little bit. So I want you to share about, so you grew up in Oregon, but now you live in Colorado. So tell everybody a little bit about that.
Oh, wow. What a journey. Well, first of all, I'm grateful for you to be a partner, and I'm very grateful for Facebook, because without it, we wouldn't be here. I mean, let's be real, how the whole journey. And I talked to someone the other day, and they said the closest people, the best people in my life are all ones I met through Facebook. And, just like anything, you have to be careful. You just won't hop in a car and start driving, right? And that's what I love about our partnership relationship is, you teach sales, body language, and I go in and I coach on, the social media, because you have to know how to use it. So, and we've got some funny stories I'm sure we'll share. We were talking about it earlier. So we always have so much fun together. So, it's very difficult for me to talk about myself. I guess my journey, I remembering I'm the oldest as well. And I remember we didn't have much money, standing in the long lines, waiting for food in the hot sun in the summer. And I remember being 10, so you were 11, I was 10. If I wanted to have some food and clothes, I had to work. So I got a job at 10, and I've worked ever since, never quit. But the positive is it really instilled good work ethics and values. I'm sure you would agree, right? For yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm really encouraging my kid to pick a career, not a job, but to pick a career. And, so she loves to cut hair, unfortunately.
Oh gosh. Yeah, she's unfortunately had a little mishap with those scissors.
Yeah, she has, with multiple friends, and parents hate us. And then, all her dolls, and I let her cut my own, although she did a good job recently. So anyhow.
She really should be in sales, Jessica, because she's clearly able to sell her friends on the fact that she is amazing at cutting hair.
You know what? She's so funny. She actually is our little salesperson. She doesn't know it. She's a little free spirit. So anyhow, so yes, I grew up out in Oregon. I went from the city to the country life. So I'll never forget the city life, going to the country life. That was quite an experience. And, you go, Eugene, Oregon, you go swimming, and you're like, oh, I'm one of the only ones clothed. That's just, I grew up with a nudist family. So I grew up in the country and the nudist, and my parents were completely opposite. They're divorced now. But, it really helped me be a diverse person, I think, and to love all, respect all. What I really appreciate about my father is the memories. We'd always go to nursing homes, visit the elderly, take an interest in them. And I actually did that with my daughter for 3.5 years. We went to a nursing home and visit the elderly, and and we still talk about it to this day. So I really appreciate it. And then my father instilled so much about being equal and love all people. And I really appreciate that. When I was homecoming princess, I resigned because I said, I should bring me around waving my hand. That's just me. But to love and respect all people. So, fast forward a little bit. And, I went to college. I actually dropped out of college because I found out that I'm more of a hands-on learner. I was instantly top sales the first year in banking in '94. I remember I wanted to work with children's psychology, and my dad said, nope, you're not going to, because they skipped me in school several years in math. So 6th grade, I was taken with 8th graders. 9th grade was seniors and done. And I love numbers. I still, to this day, love numbers. I'm just a numbers nerd. So anyhow, I got into banking, and I realized on top of the love for the numbers, it was the love for the people and serving them. And fast forward, I moved up really quick. And, it's not for everybody, but, people with all these college degrees were working for me, but it was all this team effort. And then fast forward, I had my own company. It was growing, it was flourishing. But the bad thing is that I was working 7 days a week, morning till night. And my husband was a stay-at-home dad for almost 2 years. He said, this is way harder work. I'm going back to work. And he's all, I was thinking Disneyland trips and roses and playgrounds. And he's like, no, this is not roses. So the good news is he did dedicate 70 hours every month to volunteer with our daughter. So kept that going, that tradition. So anyhow, he went back to work. And I'll never forget, though, Andrea, this moment. I have to share it. It was so surreal. My husband for 6 months was pushing me to quit. I got swine flu. I was really sick, so I'm on a breathing machine. And my grandmother, who helped raise me, and I lived with her, she had a huge impact in my life. I got the news she passed away unexpectedly. And then I was on the phone with a girlfriend, and then that night she was in labor. She was pregnant, and that night she passed away in childbirth. And I'm stepping back. I'm like, okay, I got swine flu. I lost my grandmother. I have a girlfriend. There was another death. So it was actually 4 things. And I said, you know what? I'm done. So I gave all assets to my partner. I regret that part, but I never regret stepping away and leaving in 2009. And so anyhow, my journey is instantly other businesses came to me and said, well, how do you do social media? Because I was heavily involved in social media, got certifications, invested time. I've invested way too much time in social media. And it just kind of evolved. In 2011, Customer Wow Project came about. I officially launched March 2012. So, we're 4 years. And it's been this journey where I found businesses really didn't know how to communicate, how to win people over, how to increase that word of mouth marketing, and not just make it about them, but about others. And the testimonials, you and I always get these testimonials. And, the most recent one, wow, I just generated over $32,000 in my first 15 days. Which is exciting, but he said what's more meaningful is the relationships and the people in my life. And that's what it's all about. And creating those wow givers. So I have to share you something really funny. You talk about husband. So my husband came in my life actually through a coworker, and I actually had a fear of relationships. I always did the dumping, and I was more career oriented anyhow. And I have to tell you something super funny. I remember this in my childhood. I played with Barbies. What I thought was normal is not normal. So all my Barbies were independent career, go-givers, volunteering. They all had schedules. And, so I scheduled all my Barbies when they volunteered, where they worked, when they got advanced, all these steps. And then all my girlfriends were like, our Barbies don't work. Our Barbies are getting married. I'm like, get married? Why are they getting married? Don't they strive to do stuff in life? Don't they want to live life to the full? You can tell I'm like the black sheep of the family. So anyhow, so when I met my husband, he came into my life. He actually dumped me. And he was the first guy to dump me. And I was like, what? I got dumped. Wow.
That's funny.
So he asked me back. And then he dumped me again. I'm like, what? So anyhow, the next time we got back together, he proposed. So That was super fun. We went on this big long trip wherever life took us, and he had plans for me to go on this big hike by this waterfall, and he forgot I had asthma, so I was out of breath. I was out of breath. He's like, close your eyes. It was super sweet. So anyhow, we've been married almost 18 years, and
Wow.
said what, 20 for you, right?
Well, we've been together 20, married 19 years.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So it hasn't always been easy.
Yeah.
I always tell people that our 4-year mark, we were actually talking about getting divorced, but after we got over that hump, everything's been great.
Oh, only 4 years, huh? Our first year anniversary was horrible. Our 5 years we had a little breakdown, and 11 years we had a big breakdown. And yeah, I always tell people, listen, if this was easy, more people would stay married. I mean, like, it's not easy. So yeah, if you're in it for easy, steer clear.
Yeah, it's not easy at all.
Right.
And so anyhow, I'm really grateful that him and I, worked it out, got over the hump. But we've had our other trials too. I want people to always realize it's not always perfect peachy keen. We were told we can never have children. You and I've talked about this. Never say never.
Yeah, I was told the same thing. Yep.
Yep. Never. Look at you too. And I've lost 2. So I do have a hope I'll see them again someday. And, I'm grateful for the one that I have. And what I love about you, Andrea, and being my partner is we both keep it real, but we're also out there about making a difference, not only in people's business, but their lives and everything we've collaborated on. We've, we worked together so hard, so much for that conference, and saw that we worked so well together. We saw the good and the bad sides of each other.
Yeah. And people even asked us, so are you guys still friends? And I remember the first person that asked me that at the end of the conference. And I just thought, what? Are we still friends? Oh my gosh. Now I feel like we're even better friends. But it just fortified for me, and I know for you too, that we work so well together, and our friendship is really about just allowing the other person to be vulnerable and to have their little breakdown moments. Because just like anything, we have moments where even just in our partnership, we're like, oh my gosh, stop talking. I'm leaving. I'm not having this conversation anymore. Right. And we're done. Yeah. But it's that mutual respect. And we both know what amazing talents we each bring to the table and how complementary they are to one another.
Yes, absolutely. So any business relationship, I tell people it's like marriage, but without the sex. So it's actually harder. It's actually harder, so it's much more work. So well, I'm super excited with your sales and body language. By the way, I have to ask you, because I know when you tell your body language coach, I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh my gosh, I know. And whenever I tell people that, especially if I'm in front of them, and then what do? They always go, oh, okay. And then they don't want to move because they're so paranoid that I'm either evaluating or analyzing them or whatever. I'm not analyzing all of the time, only about 98% of the time. So, you're okay.
And me, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. What you see is what you get. So what I find fascinating, so my closest friends are all body language coaches and the closest people in my life. So I don't know. Hopefully I'm doing something right.
You are.
Thank you. So with that being said, what I'm so excited is with your sales and body language and then my social media, what we really found is they work so well together, and we're doing our first one together, and it's going really well, and we're excited to keep continuing it for others.
Yes.
And it's going to be a ridiculous offer for people out there. It's a no-brainer. Okay, do you want to win people over, increase word of mouth marketing, and not just for the benefit yourself, but for the world? And on top of that whole training, we also have the virtual networking with people all around the world, bringing people together, mending, relationships worldwide, and expanding, thinking big, thinking global, connecting, engaging, and winning. That's our motto, right? And it's an exclusive membership. So we made that a ridiculous offer too for right now, it's our way of giving back, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely way of giving back.
I'm really excited about the next time we open enrollment because for the boot camp, because it's not just a program where you're going to take it and you're going to get what you get from it and then you're going to move on. It's ongoing support. And it's not just ongoing support from us, but from a community of like-minded and like-driven entrepreneurs. So I'm excited for that piece of it because, Jessica, you and I have talked about this a lot of times. So many entrepreneurs fail or go back to work at the bank or wherever, because they feel like they're isolated. They're out there on that island alone, trying to figure out what to do next and how to do it. And sometimes they just simply need like that sounding board, right?
Yes. Yes. And that's what I love. And what I love, what we've created, like you said, it's continuous because people need motivation. They may have a question they didn't think of before, or, there's new updates. Social media is always changing. Obviously the program's focused on Facebook, but the principles can be taken over into the other channels.
Yeah.
And utilize, because it's all about that relationship, not dating relationship type, but business relationship.
Right.
For example, like our fun conversation earlier, and so for example, I've noticed a change on Facebook. When you RSVP to an event, it's up on your wall. And so you got to be really careful what you RSVP for. You got to be really careful what you like or comment, because other people can see it. So we were having some fun conversation earlier. It's sometimes amazing to me. I respect all people, but I got invited to a swingers party. And I'm like, what? I mean, there's a picture of my husband and I in my Facebook profile, shows I'm married, and we're happy. And so anyhow, it's just, or, singles club. I keep getting invited to singles club. And I'm like, singles clubs, am I missing something?
And so, all I get invited to are like emails, to like join AARP and like, like a hover round, like, hello, not even 40 yet. Calm down, people.
I know, it's so funny. But so what's crazy is, so going back to the swinger one, is I got to see the private invite, and it's a lot of elite business people. Well, they gotta be careful. You don't want to click RSVP, because I'll then go on your Facebook wall and it could ruin your reputation. And that's just one small thing we teach, right? We've taught other things. You got to be really cautious and careful. But like anything, use it correctly, right? And
well, and I would just say the stuff that you teach is like, I always find it fascinating. I know I've said this to you before, how people sometimes assume that because they're familiar with Facebook, that they just know how Facebook works and they know how to use it, especially for business. And it blows my mind to watch people go through your trainings, because every single time, especially those that are certified, right? And I mean, like, really, like, they're certified Facebook or social media experts. And they are the ones with the biggest testimonials that come back saying, I know nothing. I cannot believe all that you just taught us. That was incredible.
Yes. And thank you for bringing that up. And, I'm always learning, and I do believe in investing in continual growth and so I commend the ones who do feel that they're social media experts to take our course, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then to keep growing and learning and expanding it, using it for the better good. So, and for us, I find that we work really well for service professionals, people relying on word of mouth marketing, such as, one's real estate, lending, financial, accounting, bookkeeping. I know there's a ton more of the service professionals we're missing, speakers, coaches, anybody who relies on that word of mouth marketing.
Yeah.
They really rely on that. So kind of fast forward, exciting dating stuff with my husband and I. If anybody's wondering, my husband was on this journey, had a company for 11 years, similar to your husband's, had a flooring company. And I'll never forget the day I saw he was no longer happy. And I said, what's wrong? He said, I lost my passion. I said, it's okay. I can't believe you had that passion for 11 years anyhow. And so anyhow, we went to Belize. We volunteered, serviced the world for 28 days, came back. Everyone's telling him what he should do. If anybody's listening, they probably can resonate with that. People's always trying to tell us, you need to do this business. You need to do this. Hop on that. And I said, forget everybody. What do you want to do? And he said, I want to do something with gold and helping people, and I don't know how. And I said, I don't know how either. I was thinking, are we have to move to the mountains, going to start gold panning? I'm like thinking all sorts of crazy thoughts. I didn't say it. He said he could tell the look on my face because I can't hide it. And so anyhow, it was about 2 days later, a friend reached out, a good friend of 12 years, and said, hey, I'm in this gold business and helping people. So that journey, we just hit a year. It's been amazing. It's affiliate marketing. We've grown a team of about 3,000. And I'm grateful for that, because that's propelled us to the next phase in our life. One of the final dreams was the cool pre-knotted fancy ties for men. And we've invented where you can just strap it on in 10 seconds and go. The strap on 10-second tie. I know people always say strap on. I'm like, no, 10-second tie.
That might be linked to your singles party or your swingers party. I'm not saying it for sure is, but it might be.
That came before that. So,
okay.
So anyhow, it's been such an exciting journey. And again, because we're saving people time, the businessmen were assisting people and feeling good. People will wear it, and it's such a conversation starter. My husband wears it and people always come up to him. And women started purchasing our ties, and I just tested it. I'm like, well, I'm going to try it. So I wore one out. Conversation starter, absolutely. But on top of that, we're working right now with a lot of nonprofits and foundations. I'm super excited because there's a lot of people disabled and they can't tie a tie. And they want to look good and they want to stand out. Super exciting stuff. So we feel really grateful. The gentleman who headed up the retail department from over at the Shark Tank just asked to take us on. Grateful. He came to us through Facebook. So again, thank you, Facebook. So just exciting stuff. I just wanted to kind of catch everyone up where our life journey is and what we're up to now. It's going to be exciting for the next chapter. We're talking about a business trip on a beach, right? We don't want to plan. We just want to show up on a beach, collaborate, support, authentic, connect with other people. That's what it's all about, right?
For sure.
Who knows where it will be. So anything to add?
Oh gosh, no, I'm just so excited for where we're headed. And I know we have so many things in the works just with joint venture partners and with our corporate stuff that we're working on, which is our program, but specifically for corporate teams, typically, right, like the sales departments. So there's just so much in the works, and I just can only imagine how much fun it's going to be and where it's going to take us.
Yes. So connect with us, customerwowproject.com, AndreaSullenger.com, or find us personally on Facebook, Jessica at customerwowproject.com, Andrea Sullenger. So connect with us. We also have a group, Ultimate Women's Community of Men. So if you go to ultimatewomenscommunity.com, it's absolutely no cost. You can join, connect, network with other people. It's our way of giving back. So we look forward to all of you joining us, and we can be of support. Thank you, Andrea. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.